set. In accordance with RSA 31:95-B, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, February 14th at 5:30 PM. This hearing will be held for the purpose of discussing the operation of Keno in the town of Deerfield, as the question will be on the official ballot. The hearing will be held in the downstairs conference room of the George B. White Building, 8 Raymond Road, Deerfield, New Hampshire. And we will open the public hearing. Does anyone have any comments, questions with regard to Keno? And if you do, please go to the desk over there and provide your name and address too.
Hi, I'm Mike Nichols. I'm here representing Hoke Batchelder, American Legion Post 103. We placed the warrant article because we'd like to add Keno as a service that we provide and also allow for an income stream for the American Legion here in Deerfield. So I'm also 43 Mountain Road.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Whole lot of public. Would have any questions?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Maura McCann. I work for the New Hampshire Lottery. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Keno. 89 cities and towns here in New Hampshire have approved the sale of Keno. Tickets may be purchased anytime. Drawings are held from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. every 5 minutes, 7 days a week. And there are over 200 locations throughout the state that sell Keno. Nearby, Keno is on sale in, let's see, there are 5 locations in Raymond and 1 each in Allenstown, Auburn, and Epsom. Allenstown, Auburn, Candia, Epsom, Hooksett, Northwood, and Raymond have all approved the sale of Keno. This is the 4th year that we have offered the game. Originally, it was tied to funding full-day kindergarten. Shortly after it went on sale, the money from the net profit then was earmarked for just public education, K through 12 here in New Hampshire. Last year, Keno sales were 47 million. In 2020, they were 28 million. And in 2019, 26 million. And you can see the effect that the COVID pandemic had on Keno sales. Businesses that sell Keno earn an 8% sales commission. That in turn helps with their bottom line, perhaps by paying staff and by making updates to their locations, or with many of our nonprofit organizations that sell the game, they use the money in support of charities or other good causes. I know that a few people here in Deerfield had questions about responsible gambling. I am also the chair of the New Hampshire Council for Responsible Gambling, and I work closely with another council on problem gambling. We do have a 24/7 hotline that is answered by an individual to assist with either those that have an issue with gambling, or it could be a friend or family member looking for assistance for, again, that friend or family member. We just received funding within the past year or two, and we are using that funding to do mental health screening specific to identifying those with problem gambling issues. We're also providing now, most recently, seminars that people that provide mental health counseling can watch in order to learn how to provide some guidance with those that have issues with problem gambling. So I'm more than happy to answer questions, anything about Keno or with responsible gambling or whatever you may have.
Would have any questions?
I guess the question that I'd have is, it's the Legion that pushed the petition for this year. But if this passes, it's not just for the Legion, it's to open up Deerfield for Keno in general.
It is, and I understand there are perhaps up to 3 locations here that could apply for a Keno license. Yes,
Will they come to us for that or you?
they come to us.
But we'd find out.
You would find out because they would advertise the fact that they have the game available. Yes.
So do we have to
No,
act on this tonight, Fred?
it's just a public hearing.
Just a public hearing.
This is on the ballot.
Right. Cindy?
I know last time this came up, there was a concern about where the money goes for the education. It doesn't necessarily mean that it would help out a Deerfield school, or how do you figure out what education programs or what schools that this money will go to?
Sure. So by law, the profit from the sale of lottery tickets is earmarked to education, and each month we send over that net profit to the state treasurer's office. Specifically, it goes into the educational trust fund. It's up to the Department of Education to disperse it further to the school districts.
What percentage of the sales actually go to the state?
On average, for all of the products that we offer, 29 cents on every dollar.
So 29%?
29%, yes,
Okay, and then 8% goes to the businesses?
yes.
Okay,
Now, you said all that you offer, that doesn't mean just Keno.
Correct. It's all of our products. On average, 29%.
but is there a different number for Keno?
There's a different number for each product that we offer, yes.
Do you know what it is for Keno?
I'm going to say the last time I looked, it was about, it might have been 18%, and specifically because the businesses are paid a greater sales commission because there is more work involved with selling Keno. So any of our other products like scratch tickets or Powerball or Mega Millions, that's a 5% sales commission. So with Keno, it's 8%. Plus there are prizes paid out, obviously, when people play the game. And the percentage paid back to education, the net profit, is also determined by the prizes that are paid, as well as what it takes to run the game from specifically any costs that the lottery incurs.
So when somebody wins Keno at, say the Legion, does the Legion actually make a payment to that individual, or?
Yes. So prizes that are less than $600, so $5.99 and below, can be paid out, for example, at that organization. Anything $600, greater than $600, has to come to New Hampshire Lottery headquarters to get the prize paid.
Direct my question to the Legion. If you have a bunch of winners, you hopefully have a big enough pocketbook to make the payments.
Yes, we do. We currently have lucky 7 tickets or
Mhm.
paper tickets.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so we have a separate register just for that. And it's my understanding that we will have a separate register that just does Keno. So that, because they're separate line items. and
Needs to be speaking
have
into
to be tracked
Mm-hmm.
for monthly reports, because we send in reports every month.
Yep.
And stuff. So there's a separate register that carries that amount of money. Plus, we have a safe that we keep as well for, say, we have 4 winners in the same night of $5.99, we would have to have a safe of money because we wouldn't leave that out on in a register. That's
Right.
too great of money.
Carol had one in the back there.
Errol, and then Mrs. Katie. Could you go to the microphone, Errol? You don't have a portable mic, do we?
In the future, right?
Yeah.
Errol Roads, Church Street.
I was just wondering, you accounted for 37% of the money. I just view tax, all these gambling games as taxes. So what percent goes to prizes and what percent gets retained by the government in administering it? That's my question.
The administrative costs at the lottery are very low. It's about 2%. Again, as I recall, perhaps it was 18% that was earmarked for net profit. On top of the 8% that we also would pay through sales commission. There is a gaming vendor that we use to sell the tickets. They get, I think it's about 2% for each ticket sold. And then the rest would be in prizes paid to players.
So it would be 18% to the lottery commission, 2% to the vendor selling the tickets, and 8% to the establishment. So that's what, 28% total?
You do better math than I do. Yes, sir. It is not my forte, but
Mrs. Katie, could you go to the microphone too?
Did I hear that it's 24/7, the tickets sold around the clock? And if so, is the establishment required to sell them around the clock?
I believe it was what, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m.? Yeah, so it's not 24/7. Is that correct, Maura?
actually all of our products are on sale 24/7. They can be sold 24/7, but obviously it's specific to the hours of operation within a location. And you're right, the drawings for the tickets that are sold
Oh,
are held from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. daily, 7 days a week. And the drawings are held every 5 minutes.
okay. So I was confusing the drawings from 11 to 1 versus
Exactly.
the sale.
Right. But anybody could go in at 10 o'clock a.m. and buy a ticket, or they could buy a ticket at obviously 2 p.m., or they could buy a ticket at midnight. So yes, on sale 24/7.
So do you, when you buy a ticket, are you buying it for a draw at a
Yes.
specific time during the day?
Right. If you were to buy a ticket shortly after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you would be buying the ticket for the drawing that would be held at 2:05 p.m.
Okay. Errol, again, Errol.
How
Alden,
much,
sorry.
on average, are the local businesses taking in on this? So,
Right. So
the
if we did
8%.
47 million in sales last year and they made 8%. So the businesses made over $3 million in sales commission.
but more to my question is, I'm sure there's some places that are selling the gross majority of that 47 million. Do you have any local numbers? Since you said we had 6 towns around us that are selling Keno, for how much sales are happening in those 6 towns?
I did not bring the sales with me, but I can certainly provide those. Yes.
Mike, could you go to the microphone too?
We need more mics, I guess.
Right.
I was sent a spreadsheet for just American Legion specific. And so I do know that the American Legions here in in New Hampshire gained roughly $1.1 million in sales. That wasn't their commission, that was in
In
sales.
sales, and there's probably a couple hundred of them, I'm guessing, right?
Right, yes,
There's a lot of math in this.
yeah.
There are only 200 sales locations statewide,
Oh, okay,
so that
Right.
would be less.
okay. Because, yeah, you have to figure out if it's a town that does it.
Right.
Right.
We have any other questions?
Oh, good.
Any other questions?
Here, Daryl's coming back down.
Mr. Rhodes?
I'm just curious, Errol Roads, Church Street. I'm curious what the plan is from either the Legion's perspective or from you're with the Lottery Commission?
am.
Indeed, the Lottery Commission's perspective to educate the public prior to March 8th. Is there going to be a website, a campaign, mailers? What kind of process are you going to undertake to bring everybody up to speed? Is this it?
I can't speak on behalf of the town of Deerfield, but anybody interested in understanding the Keno game itself can certainly go to our website, nhlottery.com, and find out all the particulars about the game.
Okay, do we have any?
Oh, one other quick question, just lottery question wise. When you're entering this every 5 minutes, are the drawings New Hampshire, they're not New Hampshire wide, they're Keno system wide, correct?
How to answer that question? The numbers that are drawn apply to every drawing here in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
So they are specific to New Hampshire and the game of Keno, yes.
and how much do the tickets cost?
They could be, it all is dependent upon the bet that is made.
Which is,
It could be $1 up to $20, or the game is such that there are 80 numbers to choose from. And the lottery chooses 20 winning numbers. Somebody playing the game of Keno can bet 1 number, 2 number, 5 number, right up to 20 different numbers on their ticket. And then they could also purchase for more than 1 drawing.
So the lottery picks 20 numbers.
20 winning
20
numbers
Numbers, so,
out of 80.
so you could pick just one number and that would end up conceivably be one of the 20 that's chosen.
It could be, yes.
And what's the return on picking one number?
The return, I'm not.
How much
quite-
do you win when you pick one number?
I mean, it would be all dependent upon the amount of money that you bet.
Well, if you
So-
bet $1, is it dependent upon the total number of people who are in that pool betting?
No, it's specific to, it's not a pari-mutuel payout. It's a specific payout that's won.
Mhm. So if you bet $1, you'd get what?
I unfortunately, I don't off the top of my head. I would have to take a look at the website because there are many different, as we mentioned, the different amounts that you can bet on a ticket. You could bet $5 on that ticket. You could bet $10 on that ticket, all determined by, again, the number of numbers that you choose.
Mhm.
I have a question from someone who couldn't be here.
Okay.
What gambling addiction resources are available with this program?
They would be specific for all of our tickets, all of our products that we offer. There is a 24/7 hotline that is answered. And that, again, as I mentioned earlier tonight, it could be the person that is recognizing that they have an issue with gambling, or it could be a friend of that person, or it could be a family member. So if that hotline is called, it's answered, and there are referrals made for that person or the friend or family member to get assistance.
Do we have any other questions from our test audience?
Are there any questions from the test audience attending?
None from me, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Mara.
I think if we don't have any other ones.
okay. Any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Maura.
Thank you very much for letting me talk about Keno tonight. Thank you.
Okay. With that result, I'll close this public hearing. And again, this will be on the ballot for our March town meeting vote. And I'll call to order the February 14th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. And the first item on the agenda is a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Nick Lawrence is on the agenda and he's going to be appearing by Zoom.
Good evening to the board. So just one quick item, just putting forth a personnel action request form for a pay raise or pay increase for our assistant director as agreed upon during the hiring process. We said that we would review the assistant director in 6 months, and he did create a good result on his evaluation. And we would like to put forth the action request to have his pay increase made, which John Harrington has possession of.
Would have any questions?
No, if we agreed to it, let's do it.
What's the increase, John?
It's in the signature folder.
Oh, okay.
That's all assessing, Fred. You can skip that folder.
Oh, it's this folder?
No, the
Oh.
purple one, that's assessing.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't see it earlier.
Oh, here it is.
There should be 2 in there.
Yep. So we have Eric Menard. And currently at $18.75 an hour. And I guess, Nick, you're proposing to go to $19.50 an hour?
That is correct.
What's the board's pleasure with regard to that? We need a motion, John?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do the motion.
For you
making
to
the motion,
sign it.
Dick?
I can. I'll make the motion to go to 19.50 an hour.
Second.
Moved and seconded to increase Eric Menard's rate of pay to $19.50 an hour. Any further discussion? You authorize-
Is this the assistant director that the town is now paying his salary to, his pay?
The town is currently paying half his salary. The other half is coming from the revolving fund. Should the budget pass the way it's proposed, it would be the full salary.
Like Dick said, if we agreed to this when we were negotiating,
Right.
which I
was
believe we
just
did.
asking.
No, you should ask.
All right. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous. And I'll sign on behalf of the board. Anything else, Nick?
That was all for now. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Okay.
Nice, Nick. Oh, did we lose Nick already?
No, he's still there.
Nick,
Still
have
here.
we done anything about signage down at I almost called it the hockey rink, but the ice skating rink about hockey?
In regards to hockey, we have not, because we haven't really changed our tune with it.
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if we put up signs saying no hockey.
We could certainly do that. I haven't had, I think initially we had a couple of concerns with it, with folks doing it. We did put out a message and I haven't had any other complaints about it, but we can certainly take that step for the last couple of weeks where we have the weather to do it.
Because I had talked about that at the last meeting, if that's the insurance company's policy right now, we should put up some signs saying no hockey.
Sure.
Yeah, John.
Actually, I did contact Primex on that. Their recommendation was if we were going to have a public rink available, open to the public,
that their recommendation would be to schedule days and hours for each pleasure skating and ice hockey skating to allow everyone to use the rink fairly, but not interact for safety reasons. You don't want small children on there learning how to skate with people trying to play hockey.
I think that would be kind of a next year plan. I mean, that's
But-
my take. We have a couple more weeks on it. I think we would be better served just sticking with our current policy of no hockey.
That's
Well,
that's
there's
what I
a
heard
lot
from
of
Primex.
People down there playing hockey. There's a lot of hockey skaters down there, so I think if you're gonna do signage, do it, give them a couple hours a week or something to play.
Is that something you could do, Nick?
I can certainly do that. And we did have that conversation. I had that conversation with John. We just, the past couple of weeks, we really haven't had, the rink hasn't been open. So we've kind of been holding off on it. We can certainly put together some hours for the last couple of weeks. Again, I think we're going to have another warm week coming up too.
Yeah, I think
but-
this is probably the end of this coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, we're running out of time for sure. So if that's the plan board, we could certainly put something together until the season's over.
I can certainly have a talk with Nick tomorrow. We can come up with a plan for shared ice time
Okay, good.
for the rest of the year.
Yeah, because we're going to be closed, I'm guessing, again Thursday and Friday.
Right.
Yeah, with temperatures in the 50s.
Yeah, it's going
or
to be
so.
back in the 50s and 60s and raining again, unfortunately.
Right.
But it has been successful, so good job on that, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. All right, review of outstanding minutes for January 31st.
Motion to pass is written.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's vote unanimous. All right, vouchers, payroll manifest. We have accounts payable manifest in the amount of $78,731.12.
So moved.
Is there
Second.
moved and seconded? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous. And you have no payroll for today?
No.
Okay.
Other than the two remotely signed ones that are in the correspondence folder, you may want to mention at this time, the other blue folder.
Yeah. Oh, the accounts payable for payable manifest for February 7th was $875,758.51, of which 800,000 was going directly to the school. And payroll manifest for February 7th was in the amount of a gross payroll of $87,427.41, with a net payroll of $56,940.15. Okay. Signatures. We have a
The cover sheet explains what the letter is for, Fred.
okay. Says attached, please find a draft letter that we would like you to send on your letterhead to PSNH signed by the Board of Selectmen. This information is being requested in order to complete utility values for tax year 2022. Please email this request as soon as possible. If you do not have the ability to email, we can do that without any trouble. And so
That is a request from Avatar.
Avatar. So this reads, per our assessor, we are requesting a detailed asset report for all transmission assets located in our municipality. Please include FERC code, year put in service, asset description, as well as original cost. Please include the number of easement acres owned, along with the length and width of said easements. This information should be provided to us by July 1st of this year in order for us to forward to our assessor the property value, your assets for tax year 2022. So we need a motion.
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous.
We don't already know what property they have or what easements they have?
We're trying to get an updated value.
Yeah, I believe it's what the assessed value is. All right, have a land use change tax for Michael Garadian at 14 Raymond Road in the amount of $10,000.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Approve the land use change tax. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous. Yeah, I'll sign by my name here.
We still got Andy on there?
Yeah. And we have a veterans tax credit for Dustin Ward at 205 Mount Delight Road in the amount of $750.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the veterans tax credit for Mr. Ward. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous. We have a veterans tax credit for Jeffrey Cron at 29 Old Center Road in the amount of shows as $4,000. That's correct. $4,000.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the veterans tax credit for Mr. Cron in the amount of $4,000. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous.
Fred, do we need to check this, say granted?
Oh, yes, right. Thanks, Dick. We have a veterans tax credit for Amber and Thomas Cody at 10 Scott Lane in the amount of $750.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the veterans tax credit for Mr. Cody at $750. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous. All right, we have a solar energy. This ends up being an exemption, right?
Yes.
Okay, solar energy exemption for Kenneth and Mary Dugas at 46 Cotton Road in the amount of $24,000.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous.
You didn't have the McHugh method, Dick.
We have a solar energy tax exemption for Paul Courtright at 210 South Road in the amount of $13,800.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous. We have another solar energy tax exemption for the Hutchinson Family Revocable Trust at 30 Lang Road in the amount of $10,200.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous. All right, we have another personnel action request. This is for Ann Levitt for the library assistant substitute to, well, shows $15.59 an hour, but not a proposed rate.
I think this is a new,
This is this the new person? that we're
Hire?
hiring?
yes.
So we need a vote from the board to hire Ann Levitt part-time as the library assistant substitute at $15.59 an hour.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second, and any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
3 yes and 1 no. And we have the proposed credit card policy for the town. I believe we all received a copy of this
Yeah,
by email.
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed credit card policy.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
As John said in the email, that these are the stuff that the auditors have been proposing for us, correct? So I think it's smart that we move ahead.
For
with it.
multiple years, and both the finance director, Rita Donaldson, and Pete Lemay have looked them both over, made any changes that are appropriate, and so you have the final copies.
Very good. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's vote unanimous. We have the Town of Deerfield investment policy.
I will make a motion that we pass the investment policy as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. John, do you have any description on this one?
This is a standard policy that most towns are asked to keep by any auditor. We've just not had one on file.
Okay.
So I've basically taken common language that is used and adjusted it for our purposes.
Very good. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's a vote unanimous. And similarly, we have a Town of Deerfield fund balance policy.
Make a motion that we pass this as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. John, do you want to add any?
This is the unassigned fund balance that received quite a bit of discussion on at the deliberative session. This just assigns a policy to it. Again, recommended by the auditors. It's common language that most towns carry. We just had nothing on file.
Okay. All right, any further questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's vote unanimous.
Moving right through. I said, we're moving through. The folders are shrinking.
And we have a petition for licensed utility poles, underground conduit. And this is a request by Public Service. And requires an approval by the town. John, do you want to add anything to that?
There should be a map in there indicating the direction, or
Mhm.
excuse me, the location. And the road agent has already reviewed it.
So we have, actually have several of them.
There's 3 copies of the same
Oh,
petition.
Same.
Yes.
And it's all for lines on Church Street, Old Center Road, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
For new construction or?
They're changing it.
It'll indicate whether it's a new pole or a change out from the
Okay.
symbol.
See the red and white
Yeah.
ribbons.
Oh, new pole. I thought he said they were going underground. Okay.
It's have a remove pole,
Yep.
install pole and anchor. And install pole and anchor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it appears.
Okay. Motion that we, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous.
Now we just have to get the phone company to come up and clean up their stuff after the electric company does it.
Yeah, right.
Can't believe some of the stuff they've just left hanging around town.
That looks like all our signatures. Town administrators report.
Or just put approved, Fred?
Yeah.
As part of the accounts payable this week, there was an invoice in the packet for John Taylor and Sons. That is the company that Rick Pelletier chose for the transfer station septic install. I just need a vote on record in the minutes by the board to expend impact fees for that project so that I can send that off to Pete.
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded to use impact fees for the installation of the septic system. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous.
And that total price will be $16,100.
If they don't hit ledge.
Yeah, right.
Second item, I wanted to update the board. Many of you may know that we had an issue with the town hall sprinkler system last week.
Mhm.
I did get a professional opinion from RB Lewis, and that has been passed on to Primex. I filed a claim with them. When all the work is done and an estimate for the repair, we will be submitting that to Primex and hopefully get some coverage on that.
Good.
Briefly,
John, what did they say the issue was?
that's what I'm going to go
Oh,
over.
I'm sorry.
It starts out by saying the system is indeed dry, but from age, trip test, false trips, etc., occurred, water entered these pipes, pipe drops, which is where the sprinkler head is, and did not drain. This is typical as water does not drain upwards. The heat was isolated and icing of the internal piping water occurred. The ice expanded and caused the cast iron fittings to crack and therefore discharged the system's air pressure. Once the system air compressor could not keep up, the valve tripped and caused water to enter the system. Lastly, though the system is installed dry, and he has that in quotes, with return bends and low points, drains, it is not uncommon for water to enter pipe drops, which are the sprinkler heads. To overcome this, we make all attempts to place the return bend as close to the piping drop as possible. For the bathroom core in particular, the return bend was immediately at the branch line, not at the piping drop. If it probably would have been okay, similar to the 40 to 60 other pipe drops within the system, within the building. That did not show any signs of freezing. My initial thought is that this level was looked at the time of the original installation as a quote, heated area instead of potentially freezing area, hence less formalized piping configuration. So that was what he reported. I asked him to submit a report for Primex and that's been submitted. So it was a cascading cause of events which led to that. Luckily, only one sprinkler head broke off and Ray was at the back of the building at the time and was able to stop the water almost immediately. Oh, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. And I was told by Ray late this afternoon that RB Lewis is going back over tomorrow. They're going to pressurize the system, not with the online system, just to determine if there's still any problematic sprinkler heads. They want to make sure the system is as up to working order as possible before they bring the compressor back on. And lastly, the water, because what we certainly don't want is a repeat of what just happened.
Right.
And the building is currently heating and will remain heated for the rest of the winter season at this point. Short of removing every fixture, which is every sprinkler head, and draining it, that would be the only way to ensure that there's no moisture in there, and we certainly don't want to take any chances. The fact that it is isolated above a suspended ceiling doesn't help. Heat has a hard time getting through the ceiling tiles to keep that area warm anyway.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We'll
Cindy.
never be able to not heat the town hall.
Not with this system, and as I said in the beginning, with all of the multiple tests they have to do, water ends up in the system anyway. So the trial of not heating the building, I don't think is going to work for this system. To be on the safe side, we'll probably have to keep minimal heat in there year round.
So to piggyback on Cindy's question, can we ask if there's any upgrades to the sprinkler system that we can do so that we could make this an unheated building in the winter?
I will ask that question.
If we can add some sort of bleed
Different
off?
configuration?
Yeah,
I can ask that question.
That's a good question, and
It is.
certainly we could.
Yeah, if we're saving tens of thousands of dollars not heating
Right.
and we have to spend a couple $1,000s to modify the system, I'd like to know our options.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
control 3,000 a month.
Yeah, which adds up.
And it was saving that, especially this year during those cold snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Especially 365 a gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. for
Okay,
sure.
I'll ask that question, and as new information becomes available, I'll update you.
And what do we have for damage up there? Water
Uh,
damage.
most of the water, actually, because the floor is so old and it's cracked, flowed right through the floorboards into the dirt cellar.
Mhm.
And whatever was left, the firefighters that showed up squeegeed the rest out.
Good,
So minimal.
good.
It's also
um,
how our heat leaves the building minimally.
Yeah, right.
I'd also look to the board for a,
Dick had a malfunction.
Thank you, sir.
that's one of the more risky. I also look for a motion from the board. There was the last invoice that came through from RB Lewis to reset the sprinkler tank jockey pump and replace the discharge pipe. That invoice was for $3,427 to be paid from the Municipal Government Building Trust Fund. We need a motion from the board in order for me to send that letter to the trust fund.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous.
And just for your information, that brings the total spent on the project to $23,407 for the total tank repair and such. Another piece of information for you, our finance director, Rita Donaldson, reported that credit card earnings from 2021, which is those large packets of invoices you're seeing with the spent on the credit card, the town was able to realize a gain of $2,375, and that was only from May to December. So I'm looking forward to a full year that we can realize a little bit more. And that goes right into the Citizens Investment Account, which is the account we need to keep open in order to have the charge card with Citizens Bank. Unfortunately, the interest rate is only 0.1%, but it's going into that.
Yeah, right.
Last month, Eversource sent a letter out to all property abutters of right-of-way where upcoming vegetation management will take place. Work will begin this week. A sample of the letter is in the correspondence folder if you'd like to see it.
Sometime.
And lastly, you all saw the two choices of the 2021 town report art cover that
Mhm.
were sent in. And if you would like to make a choice so that we can send it off to the printers, it would be appreciated.
I'd like to see it be the skating rink.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yes,
I'll make a motion that we go with the skating rink.
Is there,
picture.
Skating rink.
Or it's a skating rink in front of gazebo. It took,
Oh, is it the drawing?
at first I thought they were throwing snowballs, and then as I sat here during the meeting, it occurred to me it's the rink. But
Is
they're
there-
not playing hockey. so
Oh,
it's
okay.
fine.
So I'm sorry.
is there a second? Yes.
Second.
I thought you threw in a different picture for me. So the
Yeah,
photograph,
it took me a second to figure.
They're playing hockey now.
okay. So four for the,
All those in favor?
for the skating rink?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Cindy voted for the hockey rink. over the skating rink, but-
And lastly, in our balance sheet, there is still a 250th anniversary fund line. She is recommending that the fund be closed. The last time there was any activity in that was 2017. There is an amount of $11,469.81. She has talked to DRA, and this fund was not established by warrant article. Hence, no restriction exists for those funds. So she'd like to just roll those dollars into the general fund. But I wanted to get the board's approval
before she did that.
So that would go towards taxes.
That goes in our general fund, which is the unrestricted
So
fund.
moved.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Nottingham's up to 300.
We didn't get this money specifically for the 250?
That's what she checked. It wasn't done by warrant article, so it's not restricted.
No.
I'm sure it was started by a group of folks that asked the fund to be started. I'm sorry, who gave the motion?
Dick?
Dick and Alden?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Did we vote on that?
I don't
All
think
those
so.
in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Right.
Opposed, no. Vote unanimous.
And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Are we scheduling for the interviews for the road agent?
Okay. We did get a third application today. So what I'd like to do is poll the board to find out which days folks are not available, and then start talking to the applicants to have them come in. If we can do it all in one day, it might be more efficient so that people are not showing up more than one day from the board, if that's
that-
acceptable to you.
Has that been closed? Are we done?
This position is open until hired.
Oh, okay.
That's the way it was posted.
Mm-hmm. So what, Cindy?
Did we bring two of the applicants around this weekend and show them around?
Not to my knowledge.
I'm pretty open depending on sugaring, but
Mm-hmm.
during the week would probably be better.
Yep.
Mornings,
Cindy?
That's, well, let me know.
is there any day that is not good?
Well, I'm having a colonoscopy done on Friday.
So Thursday's
Mm,
out.
Thursday.
And I have
Well,
a,
Fred, you do know
Oh.
this is on YouTube. and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going live. Okay, I just want you to know.
yeah, right, exactly. And unfortunately, I have an extended prep, which starts tomorrow morning. So,
This week's out.
so this is pretty much out for me for the rest of
Well,
this week.
We need, don't we need a deadline that we can? I mean, you said this is open until higher.
That is a common practice. You don't need to do a deadline. Sometimes you can. We've put out postings many times saying open until filled.
So can we do Monday, Fred?
Monday of next week, yeah, we could do that.
Are you recovered?
Yeah, hopefully.
We won't know, little Fred.
So that's Monday, the 21st.
Yeah,
And what I can do is set up times throughout the day to see if we can get them as close as possible.
mm-hmm,
Make a day of it.
right.
Monday, the 21st. Okay, I'll let you all know what I can come up with for a schedule.
Very good. Thank you, John. Any unfinished business? Dick?
Quick question. I saw in the newspaper that the town sold land for 40,000. South Road. Do we have a problem with a,
The only land sale I know on South Road was the former Stephen Kelly land that was sold at auction in 2017. I believe, I can't remember the gentleman's name who.
Tony Leeds?
Thank
bought
you.
it?
Tony Leeds bought that property. Skip Kelly just recently purchased that piece of land from Tony Leeds and has been cleaning it up, but that's the only one I know. I don't know what he paid for it.
Is that the one at the corner of Birch and South?
No,
Oh.
that has had minimal activity.
Mm-hmm.
This is a piece of property. I think it's 168 South Road. It's
Okay.
down closer to Middle Road.
Okay.
Minimal activity is a good way to describe that.
Thank you.
Have
Cindy?
have we followed up with the fair concerns about fire? When Sean and Dawn come in about the fair, hiring the fire department, you were going to check with Matt. Have you gotten back to the fair on that yet?
I have not. Concerns about the
Payment,
the billing and the
Yep.
payment.
Yeah, right. And how he was arriving at the numbers that he was proposing, right?
right?
I still am looking to schedule the chief to come in and talk to the board.
Mm-hmm.
So he can explain all of those. I'll check back with him to find out when.
Will you be calling the fair back in at that point or
Yes.
after?
Yes, I believe it would be helpful for both parties to be here.
Speaking of the fair, I'd just like to say if we get another storm right before the March election, I think we ought to send a town truck to clear
Help.
the parking.
Yeah.
To help with what we're doing
Mm-hmm.
up there rather than relying on the fair to do it.
Yep.
I mean, we may, who knows? We've had blizzards in March and we've had 70-degree days for
Right.
elections. So who the heck knows? But I just thought, for deliberative, we had a pretty good storm right before. And they did a good job clearing it, but I don't think if we're using it for a town function that we should just rely on the fair to clear it.
That's a good point.
I can check with John Toby to see if that's
It all depends on weather.
right. He offered to do it beforehand. I said that the town would be standing. That's all he was asking for, but I can certainly make the offer to have us do the plowing and see if that's something he wants to do.
Cindy?
I had another question about the sand. I noticed on social media, everybody was complaining about the ice and why things didn't get sanded. And a comment was made that we ran out of sand. I thought
We've been buying.
we shut it off because we had too much sand. Do we still have sand?
Yes.
All I heard, I heard the same comment, but I heard that supplies ran out. And I asked a highway employee, and to his knowledge, we didn't run out
We
of
didn't.
either sand or
Okay,
salt.
okay.
But there is definitely still quite a large sand pile there.
Mhm.
I didn't check the salt shed.
Okay. Can I keep going?
Sure.
Or are we still on like
Keep going.
unfinished business?
Still unfinished.
I know the police department auctioned off some things and got a pretty good profit from the auction company or whatever they used. Is that something the fire department could be using too? I mean, I still believe we still own the cascade system and some ladders that didn't pass testing.
Could,
Whatever.
I think the police, it was evidence that they,
Yeah, I think
Disposed
whatever it
of?
was, yeah.
with the fire department, that would have to go through our surplus property process. Evidence is
Oh,
handled
because we
differently
own
than
it.
town property. So I've came up with a form and a process a couple of years ago. We just have to go through that, but I see no reason why.
It sounds like they did pretty good with going through that company.
Right. And the board has a choice to dispose of it, advertise it, or send it to auction. So you would have that opportunity as well.
I think the chief tried advertising once, but I think we need to do it again, or if we haven't gotten rid of it.
And you can certainly choose to send it all to auction and hire an auctioneer and have them come in and do it.
Okay.
But I can send that process around to you and talk to the chief about it.
And talking to one of the employees at the transfer station, is it possible to get them an updated computer? Like, it doesn't have to be a new computer, but don't we have something that's outdated here and could be updated there? Type of thing, and a new phone? They told me they have a rotary phone that only calls in Deerfield.
It is only local calls.
Okay. What if they
That
have
was,
to call Concord for something, DHS or whatever?
I believe that was the way it had been set up since I have been here, to only restrict it to local calls. There was no long distance available.
The problem with that is the cell phone numbers are anything.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right,
That
Yes,
killed
we can
them.
they
hold
should
that.
get
I'm-
911.
Just trying to write all this down.
Yeah,
one-
right.
One
Go
thing at a
ahead.
time.
Yep.
We can change the policy.
And I think they really should have some type of computer and internet access up there in case they need to look something up or So maybe that's upgrading the phone too.
I do know that they fixed the ceiling floor thing. the other
They
day.
did fix the ceiling
They were
floor?
working on it. when I
What
was up
ceiling?
there.
Who's been paid?
Wait.
Anything else, Cindy?
I think that might be it, but I lost.
So I have computer and phone upgrade. Is that-
Yeah,
I mean, I thought maybe we had something in the back room that we could,
Those are all gone from when we changed over everything.
it's certainly not a huge cost to pick up a cheap phone at Best Buy or something.
There's
No,
probably
the-
some that go through the transfer
I'm-
station.
I'm sure we can upgrade to a digital phone.
Yeah.
The last one actually got shorted out. For a storm,
oh,
and we couldn't use the phone, it was.
dead.
All right. We have any other business, any new business? And any other business? And we have no non-public. So next is citizens' comments. Mrs. Katie
We have some.
and Mr. Rhodes.
I think the transfer station phone calls should be limited to local, and anything that needs questioning at the state level should be done through the transfer station superintendent. It's most important that the superintendent know anything that is going on down there that they have to take care of. That's why we hire a superintendent.
Got it.
The um, for the I didn't hear earlier any vote after you went through the file on the salary and the payroll and accounts payable. Did you vote that at all?
Those had been signed on those dates, right?
That was our.
Yeah, that was the off week.
Yeah, off week, right.
I'm sorry.
That was on our off week. And
Didn't meet, so
we
we.
didn't meet.
But I
so-
didn't hear a vote on the accounts payable, and you had just two for salary, you said?
Yeah, we voted.
Yeah.
What is our salary?
Yeah.
You probably signed it anyways.
Right.
I know we voted on the salary because I said
Yeah.
no.
The two personal action requests you did do, there was a motion, a second, and a vote for
Right.
both of them.
Um, I'm sorry, I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. I'll get it later. Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes.
Errol Roads, Church Street. Four things. One, on the sand. I didn't see that notice, but the sand pile did move from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So it did appear that there wasn't any sand, but there was a lot of sand on the other side.
Okay.
So that may have been the source of confusion. In terms of the transfer station and the computer, would the town be taking a donation of a computer for those purposes. They would be doing that. Okay. Now I was just learning about the auction or I guess the disposal of police evidence. Was that the subject of a public notice posted to the website? And in the future, could it be so that town citizens could be notified of it and perhaps participate in that process?
I do know that disposal of police evidence is guided by different guidelines than town property. My best advice is to check with the chief of police. He follows whatever standard practice is approved for police evidence. I don't know any specifics about how that works.
Okay, so I would check with the chief on that, what their
Yes.
policies are.
It is different than average town properties such as a car, a truck, a file cabinet. It
And
has,
that's
it's
typically,
different.
that's typically noticed on the site, isn't it? If the town was disposing of property, would they?
That
or-
is done in a board meeting. And the
Right.
board discusses the list of items and then they determine how they want to dispose of it, whether to actually dispose of it, whether they want to sell it, whether they want to post it for purchase or send it to auction. There's different choices they can make, but that's done in a public meeting.
Okay, so to the extent that it's done in a public and not in a specific sale kind of way, it could be put on the site, the town site, notice to the town residents if they wanted to participate in that.
Right.
Interesting. Final point, I see that the system's working. The, you know,
This is just a test this evening. That's why
I
there was
know.
no information
Cap-
posted on
Captain
the agenda.
Captain Kirk behind the, on the deck there. I noticed that, yeah.
I'm busy over here.
Yeah, we can
Understand.
see your
No,
forehead for a change.
I'm sorry?
We can see your forehead for a change.
I
Right up
took-
there on the screen.
I took my hat off. But no, it's terrific that
We're almost there. There's a small little issue with the channel 24 that we need to solve. But other than that, I have 3 people who are testing from a Zoom perspective
Right.
and a YouTube. And so far, everything seems to be working well.
But it worked good with Mr. Lawrence. 2 questions on that. One, for people who are going to be sitting in your seat, Mr. Harrington, will there be a manual or some sort of, I know there's going to be
There will be a
training.
guide and
Yeah, yeah.
a step to follow and as well as some training so that people can become familiar with it.
Because I know at the planning board meeting the other night, there was some confusion over some of, I guess was it the camera?
We couldn't get the camera working. yet.
Yeah, so a sort of a guide here was.
It
something-
wasn't ready for training at that point.
Wasn't ready for the, yeah, no. The other question on that subject I have is, are you planning a mailer to the town advertising that this will be something they can do from the comfort of their own home and maybe giving a schedule of the monthly meetings that are regularly held?
I don't know about a mailer because that involves a substantial cost that we obviously have not budgeted for. Information will be posted on the website and likely our Facebook account as well.
But okay. But I mean, so I've actually mailers are something that have come to my attention recently as when I saw that the school board was appropriating $10,000 for a mailer. I looked into what the average cost of a mailer was, which is between $700 and $1,000 for that. So if that were to be funded somehow, the town would perhaps do that.
Perhaps.
Okay. Just a thought, let people know. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Since a few years ago, when I brought up the fact that the police had all this stuff they had gathered and evidence, I looked it up and they have to sell at a public auction. They hire an auctioneer and the auctioneer advertises the auction. But I do think that it should be also advertised on the town's website so that the town's people who don't buy newspapers where like Paul Innes will be able to know there's an auction being held.
Mhm.
And the chief had the choice of hiring the auctioneer. That's not a question, but I'm sure that's what he did under the law.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna make a citizen's comment up here rather than over there. So. Alden Dill Griffin Road.
We don't have a forum now.
Here we do.
We do. There's still three of you. No, I just wanted to comment on the public hearing.
Only comments.
As a citizen, not as a board member, but I think Keno's a bad idea. It's a revolving 5-minute drawing for hours at a bar. And I think it's quite different than other lottery products we have. It's instant gambling. It's not just scratch tickets. So that is my public comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second to adjourn. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
I made it back.
Very good.